Are the Montreal Canadiens poised to have both the Rookie of the Year and the Coach of the Year in 2025? That is the first topic of conversation here in the 5-minute edition of Power Plays powered by FanDuel. Carlo, we know Spencer Carberry, the prohibitive favorite to win the Jack Adams. But is Marty St. of the Canadiens being overlooked?
I think absolutely he's being overlooked. And look, when you look at how the Coach of the Year gets named, you look at coaches that have successes with teams that not many people give them, the idea of having good seasons. The Washington Capitals, probably the best season anybody could expect them to have, challenging for the President's Trophy. But the Montreal Canadiens, I think they're a team that most people thought were maybe a year or two away from being at this point, almost clinching a playoff spot right now. And Marty St. deserves a ton of credit for that. Just look at the development that he's helped with guys like Lane Hutson, Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, almost being a 40-goal scorer, Uri Slafkovsky. The names go on and on, even in net with Montembeault in the season that he's having. So these are the categories that you look at when you're looking at naming a Coach of the Year. And Marty St. has definitely earned the respect to be in that conversation and challenging for that nomination right now.
Marty St. may have another weapon at his disposal very shortly in the form of Ivan Demidov coming over from the KHL. Ooh. The Habs signing him to an entry-level deal earlier this week. I'm going to set the over-under at 3.5 goals for the rest of the regular season into the postseason for Demidov from here on out. Which side are you taking?
I'm going to go the under on this one just because I don't know when he's going to get here. There's still some challenges with his transfers coming over from Russia. And the Montreal Canadiens only have 4 games left in the regular season. So how quickly could he get acclimated to this group? Look, I am so excited about Demidov making his debut with the Montreal Canadiens at some point between now and the playoffs, maybe into the playoffs. It's a lot to ask for a young guy that has no NHL experience. But I would err on the side of caution here because if he comes in and he finds a smooth transition, this guy was a 19-year-old, led his team in Russia in scoring, 49 points in 65 games. The KHL is a really hard league to produce in, and he didn't show any signs of struggling with that. So now you add him into a young, enthusiastic, and even electric Bell Center crowd. I think this guy is made for this type of atmosphere, made for this moment, and he is going to electrify once he hits the scene here.
And we know that Lane Hutson has been electrifying all season long. Do you think Montreal should look to extend the future Calder Trophy winner this summer?
I think they absolutely should because he's a player that has gone out and has earned his spot, earned his success, and is probably going to earn his next contract. And look, Montreal has a history of locking in their young players to long-term deals. You look at Suzuki, Caulfield, and I know Marc Bergevin was responsible for the Suzuki one, but even Slafkovsky as early as last year. Lane Hutson right now with 1 year left. I mean, how much more is his contract going to change? He's already going to win the Calder. He's putting up a ton of points. I think you got to compare him to a Cale Makar type contract if you're going to look to extend him.
Jacob Chychrun signing for $9 million a year. Maybe that's something that Lane Hutson could be looking for as well. Let's talk about another Habs D-man, Mike Matheson, who has 1 year remaining on his contract. Would you look at him as a long-term fixture in Montreal?
Absolutely, because it is so important to keep veterans around your young players so you can allow guys like Lane Hutson to play the role that he's been excelling in this year. And at 31 years old, I know it's a down year offensively, but he's still a 30-point defenseman. You can never have too many of those guys. And coming off a contract, look, Montreal talked about moving David Savard, and look how important his impact continues to be for this team, being on this team. So you have good core veterans. He's a leader on this team. Absolutely have to find a way to keep him around.
All right, let's play a little hypothetical game here, Coco. More likely to advance to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Montreal Canadiens or the Ottawa Senators?
Can I say both? Because right now, I don't think anybody wants to play these two teams, and for a couple reasons. One, you got both teams that are returning to the playoffs after a long absence. Let's look at Ottawa. You got the Brady Tkachuk factor, and you've got the Linus Ullmark factor. This team is going to be playing with house money, nothing to lose, but they're going to be inspired because they're in unfamiliar territory, and they've got a couple veterans on that team. Montreal is mostly known for being a young, enthusiastic team. And I think having home ice advantage at the Bell Center will be something these players relish in and absolutely thrive in. It'll be tough for opponents to go in and do that. I think Montreal has the better chance to upset, but I would not be surprised if both of those teams upset their first-round opponents.
Don't think too many people predicted Montreal and Ottawa would be in the playoffs, let alone be predicted by potentially advancing to the second round. This has been Power Plays, powered by FanDuel.